Le Mont Ventoux. How do you prepare to take on one of cycling's toughest tests of endurance?
That's it, Marcus. Push, push, push. Come on. Push, push.
Right, let's talk about coffee then. The process of making coffee is quite ritualistic to me. I love getting the cup of coffee at the end, but there's a whole process that you have to go through to get that cup of coffee. And then if you put all of those little steps of the process together, you get this great end result. It's the same for anything, whether it's making coffee or training for an event like Haute Route Ventoux. There's all of these different parts of the process that you have to go to, from your training, with the power meter, with the heart rate, your nutrition off the bike, your recovery, your sleep, the analysis of the blood glucose. Without one of those elements, you're not going to get the end result that you're looking for. And it's all about having the perfect process. And when you get the process right, the outcome more often than not takes care of itself. My name is Marcus Leach, and I have a passion for exploring the limits in life. Today is all about final preparation before heading out to France. It's about making sure that every element of the process is perfect. I think success is built on a foundation of a lot of little things done consistently over a long period of time to the highest of your standard. So obviously preparing for an event is a big part of it, but within that, you've got the mental side of it, you've got your mindset, you've got your commitment to doing what it takes every single day without fail to achieve your goal. And if that means getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go out on your bike and train when everyone else is asleep, then that's what you've got to do. Knowing the route is an integral part of the process so that there's not going to be any hidden surprises. Put a semi-compact on the front and gone with a 32 as the biggest at the back, just to give me that ability to sort of maintain a higher cadence on the climbs, because I'm a slightly bigger guy and I have the tendency, when it's not too steep, to rely on power. And I think when you're going on these big long climbs, if you try and put too much power down early on, you're just going to blow up. I'm not a natural build for climbing as much as I love it. I think you can either sort of be old school and say, I'm going to go ride my bike and see how far that gets me. And I used to do that. But then I started training with a heart rate monitor. And I think the natural progression for me then was the power meter. Training with power gives you a much more precise training impact. You can control it a lot more because it's such an instantaneous feedback. And then I think if you look at blood glucose, it's kind of like the next step. It's all about optimal performance, seeking out the last 2 or 3% advantage of sort of marginal gains so that you are the fittest, the strongest, the lightest you can be to take on your goal. And it's been a really interesting process for me to go from eating what by anyone else's standards is a very healthy, varied diet. From the point of view of the blood glucose and not wanting to get spikes in your blood glucose and then a trough, is it the right diet to achieve optimal performance? Then no, it's not necessarily the right diet. I think when you're going into an event on the scale of Mont Ventoux, it's about actually having a strategy in place to fuel you through the day. I think there's that great quote, isn't there? Everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face. It's about being calm, collected. It's about taking a step back from it and saying, okay, I've got this adversity to deal with. How am I going to get past it? You've got to ask yourself, what would a champion do in this situation? They're consistently doing what they have to do when no one's watching, when there's no cameras clicking, there's no recognition in that moment, but they know those short-term sacrifices added up will get them to where they want to be. Yes! When you're 100% committed and you give your absolute everything, the end result is so much more meaningful. And you know that you've given your best, and at the end of the day, your best is good enough.